If you've ever watched the childhood shows iCarly, Drake and Josh, or Victorious, you've watched the work of a pedophile. Dan Schneider, the creator of these shows, has been shown to be a little bit of a creep in some ways, and I'm not very aware of it, and neither is he. We're gonna watch some disturbing things that happen on these shows. Let's get into it.
But in an explosive new docuseries, former writers, crew members, and other former child actors have come forward with allegations of a toxic workplace culture and harassment against the network's most successful producer. But that wasn't the only bombshell revealed during the docuseries. The biggest revelation arguably came from one of its former stars who spoke out for the first time.
I heard about this. You guys don't even want to know how bad this is. Normally, I like to make jokes, but I can't make fun of this.
About his experience of being sexually abused, allegedly by a dialogue coach who previously worked at the network. Investigation Discovery's latest docuseries, Quiet on Set: The Dark Side of Kids TV, gives viewers an inside look into the allegations of toxic workplace culture in many children's TV series produced in the 90s and 2000s by Dan Schneider. Some of those allegations came from a former writer for the hit children's series The Amanda Show, Jenny Cleggan, who was one of 2 female writers employed for the show. She claimed Schneider would show pornography from his computer. Cleggan said he would pressure the 2 female writers to publicly perform seemingly sexually explicit activities in front of coworkers, including asking the other female writer, Christy Stratton, to tell a story as if she's being sodomized.
I don't know what that word means.
Sodomized?
No. To perform sodomy on. What the fuck? Sodomy. What? To have anal with.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe he was joking. Probably, no, he's a pedophile or a weirdo.
Yeah.
I guess I was an adult, so not a pedophile, but that's fucking weird.
I heard also in those shows we watched, there's also a lot of weird stuff we didn't notice.
Oh, yeah, like people said there was like squirting on faces.
Yeah.
Like, a lot, which was
and there's
quite
apparently
interesting.
like a scene of like Ariana Grande, there's like a bunch of weird shit.
Yeah.
Look it up or
don't look it up, or else you're a pedophile.
In addition to that, the 2 writers for the hit children's series say they both had to split a single salary between the 2 of them. Jenny Cleggan would later go on to sue the show's production company, alleging gender discrimination.
Apparently he was a big sexist.
He split their pay in half, as if they're worth half a man. Which I'm not gonna be like, feminism, but I'm also gonna be like, what the fuck?
It's just bad.
It's still a person. What?
Yeah, it's like they should be paid like.
I know they're stupid. Just kidding. No,
he's actually really sexist.
No, women are super smart.
Yeah.
I mean, when somebody's in a position of power, it means they have something they can take or give away. And if you're in that subordinate position, it can be extremely frightening.
Dr. Joni Johnston is a forensic psychologist. As she explained, oftentimes it takes several complaints against a person in power for it to be taken seriously.
We all know people who spoke up and were ostracized or were punished in some way. And it oftentimes takes a certain amount or number of people to keep talking and keep complaining before action is taken. And sometimes the people who are leading the pack are the ones who get stepped on.
In addition to those claims, former crew members on several hit Nickelodeon shows allege Schneider pressured female staffers to give him massages. Some also now find it inappropriate Schneider appeared in skits with Amanda Bynes, referring to the skit where the 2 were in a hot tub. Bynes would appear in a swimsuit while Schneider appeared fully clothed. Former child actors and alums from another Nickelodeon series, All That, shared their experience as being the few black actors working with Schneider on the show in the early 2000s.
So he's racist as
Brian
well.
Hearn, who starred on All That, believed he was racially stereotyped by appearing in sketches which featured him as a rapper named Little Fetus and a teen who sold cookies but played the sketch seemingly referring to drug dealing. He said he was referred to as a piece of charcoal.
So he's racist for saying how he's like making racial stereotypes. I think I kind of noticed this as a kid too. There's like a lot of like Indian characters I remember, like Balji and like Ravi. They're all like
nerds.
I think, yeah, and they're all like were played by the same actor. I'm not saying you can't ever make a stereotypical character, but like every single Indian character was like the same.
Yeah, no one really talks about the Indians.
Hearn also referred to a scene that stood out to him where he was covered in peanut butter for dogs to lick off as a dare. He can be heard in the clip saying he didn't like it, but the dare continued. The scene was for a sketch series called On Air Dare, which appeared as a kid's version of Fear Factor, which Hearn said after a while felt like they were a part of a torture chamber where they couldn't say no.
Whether it's an adult or whether it's a teenager who has this dream of being a star, they're becoming a star, and they're probably being reminded on a regular basis, which is another part of this power dynamics, that hey, if you leave, there's 1,000 more people lined up right behind you to take your spot.
Not that it's justifiable or right at all, but it makes sense why that situation could happen, because no one wants to lose like this great opportunity of being an actor. There's great pressure to just keep doing it no matter like how bad it is. Kids are naive and kids don't really know how to say no sometimes, so it's like it's really fucked up to take
It's also
advantage.
part of the fault of the parents for like allowing him to get away with so much because they're like so desperate for the money and the fame.
Kids, they were shocked to learn sexual predators had been employed on the show. One being a former production assistant, Jason Handy, who had worked on shows like All That and
He
The
looked
Amanda
scary.
Show. Handy was arrested in 2003 for kissing and touching a 9-year-old girl and later
hell
convicted
no.
for child abuse and child
9 years
pornography.
old? Bro, that's not even close. Why would you ever do that?
The docuseries then explores another convicted sexual predator who had worked on set as a dialogue coach named Brian Peck. He was convicted for sexual abuse in the same year as Handy. Peck had also appeared on the show All That as a recurring character called Pickle Boy, which former staffers and actors looking back believed to have an inappropriate meaning that at the time they may have shrugged off as a quirky Schneider joke. One of the series' former cast members said Peck had a signed self-portrait painting of serial killer John Wayne Gacy at his home,
Holy
which
shit.
he bragged about.
Do you know who John Wayne Gacy is?
No, I don't. I barely remember these shows.
No, it's not a show.
Oh, what?
He's a serial killer.
Oh,
He dressed as a clown and like murdered boys.
was he the guy who worked in Nickelodeon?
No, he didn't work at Nickelodeon. He's just a serial killer.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm dumb.
No, but that is really creepy that he had a fucking painting of a serial killer.
And even had a collection of letters from the killer clown. During his time at Nickelodeon, Peck would later go on to work with former child actor Drake Bell, who appeared in The Amanda Show and later starred in his own show, Drake and Josh. And arguably the most shocking revelation, Bell alleges Peck subjected him to extensive and brutal sexual abuse during his time as his dialogue coach. Bell said the abuse began when Peck drove a wedge between he and his father, who was his manager at the time. Bell's father, who appeared in the series, said that he believed Peck was dangerous, and the wedge which was created between them generated an environment where Peck would prey upon a then 14-year-old Drake Bell. Bell's father said he went to production about his concerns about Peck, but claimed they went unanswered. Bell would later go on to fire his father and live with his mother, who technically took over the managerial responsibilities in Orange County. But then Peck took on the role of driving the actor to and from set and to auditions, sometimes keeping Bell at his home overnight. Bell says that's when the abuse began. Bell, who appeared visibly uncomfortable while recounting sexual abuse, didn't go into heavy detail on camera. He told the interviewer, "Imagine the worst stuff that someone could do to somebody as a sexual assault, and that will answer your question."
Holy fuck.
Bell said the abuse was
Dude, this is so bad.
Bro.
This is horrible.
Yeah, I feel like there's like a lot of people in Hollywood who are like creeps and shit. Apparently Disney has some fucked up shit too. Probably gonna
I mean,
expose them.
anywhere that's known to have a large group of kids and there's job applications, chances are you might hire some weird people. So you need to do crazy good background checks because there has to be so much precaution because kids are like a target, apparently. Like, it's evident.
not a one-time incident, and he remembered feeling trapped with no way out.
Well, you're certainly describing really clearly one form of grooming, which is taking children and you befriend them at first and you develop a
So
relationship.
bad.
You talk about how special they are and you're going to be the big star, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, actually, I had a pedophile coach who did something similar. I'm sorry, but I just had to bring that up.
Bro, it's always the
Not
coaches.
to me. But he did say some weird shit to me and slap my butt. But he actually got arrested for harassing people on the team.
So it's like harassing the girls or something?
No, guys.
Oh, he's gay?
Yeah, he must be. I don't know. So these people do exist. Parents and kids, just be extra careful with everything.
They start to trust you, and then over time, that relationship starts progressing, and that person starts, croaching boundaries and coaching them a little, smaller and smaller at a little bit at a time. And of course, it's only to their advantage to disconnect them or isolate them as much as possible from other people who might see your agenda or have their own agenda in terms of
This is
protecting
so
their
fucked
child.
up.
You think about young teenagers, and you think about their goal really is to, it's to find out who they are. And so part of being a teenager is rebelling a little bit against your parents, right? I don't know who I am yet, but I'm not you, Mom. I'm not you, Dad. That's just part of that natural process. And so it creates a especially vulnerable situation in terms of this teen.
I don't know who this lady is, but she's spitting fire. This is really good, actually. I'm impressed by this whole video. Not like it's good, but I'm saying
like how informative it is.
Yeah.
Like how
And then if you have a predator who's there, it's again another opportunity for them to befriend this person. I'm going to help you with your career. You're going to be a star. We're buddies. Which it should never be that way. You're not a buddy. If you're in your 30s and somebody's 15, you're not a buddy. You could be a coach. You could be, you could be a lot, but you're not a buddy. And when you start acting like a buddy, that's a red flag.
Bell said he was afraid to speak out. The mother of his girlfriend at the time caught on that something might be going on when Peck called her house and Bell's cell phone numerous times, which she didn't feel was normal. Bell said he later revealed with his own mother the sexual abuse that was going on, and she later called the cops. Peck was ultimately arrested after he confessed on a recorded line. Bell's father said at the time he was relieved the arrest happened, but didn't find out his son was the victim in the case until years later. Peck pleaded no contest to oral copulation with the minor and performing a lewd act with a 14 or 15-year-old. Bell's identity as the victim in the case was not made public at the time, and according to Bell, Schneider was not aware Bell was Peck's victim until Bell confided in him. In the series, Bell would credit Schneider for offering support to him. Peck would only spend 16 months in prison and was later required to register as a sex offender. Following his sentence, Peck was later hired to work on the Disney Channel's children's show, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Bro, what?
Bro, apparently he was hired right after he was released to work at a Disney children's show.
Are they fucking stupid?
There's probably a bunch of predators at Disney too. That's probably gonna, the next Quiet set is gonna be on Disney.
Why in the fucking world would you hire a pedophile, a proven pedophile, on a children's show? What?
They don't care about kids, they just care about money since they made successful shows.
Even still, they're gonna lose money because of this bullshit.
I mean, children should be believed, particularly a child who's come forward. I mean, it takes so much courage to come forward, to testify, to go before a judge. I mean, I have such respect for him and for his family for going through that process because it so, unfortunately, so rarely still happens. And it's so unfortunate because I know in interviews, that's one of the things that really seems to have haunted Drake Bell is, talking about being in this courtroom and seeing his mom, essentially, or his family being on his side, and then seeing this kind of courtroom full of supporters. And I think that would be, again, a secondary trauma for him.
In a statement, Nickelodeon said in part they were dismayed and saddened to learn about the trauma Bell endured and said that they commend his strength and support to come forward. Bell himself admitted he later went on a downward spiral as a response to the trauma. Bell said he self-medicated with drugs and alcohol. He was arrested on DUI, and in 2021 he pleaded guilty to child endangerment and was sentenced to 200 hours of community service.
Well, we certainly know that experiencing sexual abuse, particularly repeated sexual abuse, and particularly when it's perpetrated by somebody that you trusted, it's not so much, it is absolutely the trauma that happens, but it's also, again, the coping mechanisms that the person develops and the support system they have. What happens after the abuse is disclosed?
Meanwhile, Dan Schneider, who parted ways with Nickelodeon in 2018 after an internal investigation found evidence of verbal abuse toward its colleagues, following the release of the docuseries, Schneider apologized on a social media video about his role in the claims against him about a toxic workplace for child actors and the crew.
I heard about this. He made like an apology video, like apologizing, but he didn't like admit anything. He just making excuses. He's trying to like a PR stunt by Nickelodeon to like make themselves look better.
Watching over the past 2 nights was very difficult. Me facing my past behaviors, some of which are embarrassing and that I regret. And I definitely owe some people a pretty strong apology.
Let's talk about the massages.
Okay.
Watching the content yesterday, it was disturbing.
It was wrong. It was wrong that I ever put anybody in that position. It was the wrong thing to do. I'd never do it today. I'm embarrassed that I did it then. I apologize to anybody that I ever put in that situation.
I mean, he is taking accountability.
Nah, I saw some clips of it. It was like pretty obviously fake. They even like tweeted, he like made a tweet saying that, and he does admit some of this stuff, but he like says that people are exaggerating a little bit, and he said that some of the scenes are being perceived sexual when they weren't, but they were. And
I mean, I'm trying to hear him out too, because the media is gonna always jump on this shit. Whether someone is like,
I don't think he's actually sorry. I think he's just sorry he's finally being held accountable. I mean, he's not even arrested yet. He should be arrested for the shit he did.
There is a chance that he feels bad, but it's too late.
I apologize to the people who were walking around Video Village or wherever they happened, because there were lots of people there who witnessed it who also may have felt uncomfortable. So I owe them an apology as well.
Yeah.
Throughout the interview, Schneider appeared teary-eyed, especially recounting a time of helping Belle's family during the sexual abuse case. Schneider explained that he didn't hire Peck to work on All That, where he initially started his time on Nickelodeon. Schneider said in hindsight, some jokes crossed the line, but they were intended to be funny and for a children's audience. He said there are things he would have done differently, mainly the way he treated people on set.
You know, when somebody apologizes, when they've been outed to some degree, there is always the question, what are you sorry for? Right? Are you sorry that these things happened? Are you now realizing the trauma that you...
I swear to God, whenever we talk about something, this lady knows exactly what we're saying.
Yeah.
Really difficult to believe that he wasn't aware of the trauma he was certainly putting on his employees.
He's a full-grown man.
For those kinds of
Probably knows
requests
what
and
he's
actions and things like that. Or are you sorry that you've kind of been outed?
Do you think that child actors is technically child labor?
Yes and no, because you need children in certain stuff because they need to be represented in certain types of media.
Yeah.
I just think the guidelines need to be a lot better. Obviously.
Yeah.
Fucking Disney hired him after he fucking got arrested.
Schneider said it was wrong for him to ask anyone to give him massages. While addressing the inappropriate jokes made in the writer's room, he said he would never do it today and no writer should feel uncomfortable. He said while watching the show, his heart broke when the former actors recalled their experience being uncomfortable in skits, such as on-air dares, ultimately apologizing for making them do anything they didn't want to do or weren't comfortable with.
If you're a parent, look out for your kid. That's it. And look out for pedophiles if you're a kid, because they're everywhere. Not everywhere.
I mean, there's a surprising amount of them.
yeah. Okay, but that's it. There'll be another video on his face.
What's your opinion on like a bunch of YouTubers? A lot of YouTubers get exposed for being pedos nowadays.
I'm not. Bye.